Israel is claiming, some claims, that they killed the Secretary General of Hezbollah, Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, in a massive terrorist attack in Beirut, in the southern suburb of Al-Dahiya Al-Janubiyya in Beirut. 15 strikes with very heavy bombs. Reports said it was 2-ton bombs, bunker busters, the same type that the US has when it comes to their heaviest bombs as well. Not exactly that one, but from that type. They call it the Moab, or the mother of all bombs, they like to name it. And we have reports coming from Israel that they assassinated the Secretary General of Hezbollah. This was coming during Netanyahu's press conference after his UN speech, UN General Assembly speech, where he was talking about the fact that he is representing, the forces of blessings and against the forces of the curse, right? That Israel is, defending the civilization and protecting the West as well. Israel is protecting the West with its actions in Gaza and Lebanon and the region. And no one is criticizing him from the leaders of the Western countries, like, hey, don't talk on our behalf. Don't speak, not in my name or anything of the sort. No, he's talking normally. The fact that this man can go to the United Nations can safely say that the United Nations as an organization should be buried now. That's it. It's as if, someone even worse than Hitler going there and having a speech. What are we talking about here? The United Nations letting Benjamin Netanyahu go. Firstly, he was talking with seats. He was having a speech for seats. Everyone left. Hardly anyone stayed there. As a matter of fact, the majority of the people were outside protesting against him. And he was talking and he was threatening. And during the press conference that followed, he all of a sudden had this call, right, from his military advisor. I'm not sure if it was like a dramatic move that they intended really to happen, if it was just a show. But he called him and he was on the phone, and yeah, approve. Okay, approve the attack in Lebanon. Yet Joe Biden and the Pentagon said, no, we had no knowledge about the attack in Lebanon. Dude, the call happened from the United States of America. You can monitor every call on earth. And you couldn't monitor the call of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu from New York to Israel to approve an attack on Lebanon at that scale that could lead to a regional war. Who are you kidding? Who are these people kidding? This is the attack that happened in Dahiya Al-Janubiyya. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a civilian area, okay? Western mainstream media is hailing the attack. Again, all because it's Hezbollah. Again, they're using the same thing as Hamas, Of course, we have our criticism about this whole approach of labeling these organizations and delegitimizing them. But then again, they're using that excuse to justify their barbarism. And Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel previously did this many times, by the way. Every time they wanted to commit, and we will get to the assassination, did it happen, did it not happen, and all of these things. Whenever they wanted to commit a massacre against the people, they say we targeted someone. In Gaza, they constantly do it. They blew up people in tents, they still do. I mean, people in Gaza now, the bodies, they're taking them in boxes, body parts of 10 people killed in one box. A man, a child, a woman, and 7 other people who they don't know. Now they're returning some of the people who they executed in Israel in containers. 80, 100 bodies, no identification, no nothing. How are they killed? What happened? Nothing. This is what you're talking about. This is worse than any horror show. So anyone sitting on the other side, on the other camp, I mean, there are no words to describe these people. There are no words to describe these people, let alone the immoral people in the Arab and Muslim world who go and celebrate and mock and go out there and act like keyboard warriors against an honorable resistance who defend their people and defend the Palestinian cause. These people are at the forefront of the support of the Palestinian people. Yet some people have the audacity to sit there on their keyboards, and then in tweets, and joke around, and some of them celebrating. Celebrating what? The murder of children? What are you celebrating exactly? And again, some people, it's beyond comprehension. This is what Israel said. The IDF assesses Hezbollah Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah was killed in the Dahiya. IDF spokesperson Daniel Hagari, the IDF attacked the central headquarters of Hezbollah. It is located under residential buildings in Beirut. Everything is under residential buildings, isn't it? But funny enough, the Kiryat in Israel, the main hub of the Israeli security establishment, is in the center of Tel Aviv. That's not civilian population. When it comes to the chosen ones and the enlightened ones, it's not civilian population. What is the Kiryat in central Tel Aviv? So that if someone attacks it tomorrow, say, oh no, they're targeting civilians. So first we had the rockets from the bedrooms, right? Going against every military logic, every physical logic, really. If you want to have a heavy missile in a bedroom, firstly, how the hell are you going to put it there? Secondly, once this thing, how are you going to launch it? Secondly, and thirdly, well, once this is launched, this is not leaving anything behind it. But now it's residential buildings. And what else are they saying now? They're calling the Lebanese population in the southern suburb of Beirut, Al-Dahiya Al-Janubiyya, evacuate. We're going to target Hezbollah's land to sea missiles that are held and kept safe in civilian buildings. Ooh, wow. So what, the Ahont and the missiles of Hezbollah now, they're sitting in your bedroom in Beirut. Be careful, everyone. 20, 30 feet sitting in your living room, right? I had a nice comment the other day from someone, and the comment section on YouTube said, my wife wouldn't let me move the sofa, let alone put a missile in the room. A missile in the room. 20, 30 feet. What are these people talking about? Anyway, they're confident. The majority of the reports in Israel are saying that he was killed. Yediot are not saying that. Ma'ariv are saying that. Confirmation. And they're saying the longer that Hezbollah take to confirm that he's alive, the more we are assured that he was indeed assassinated in this attack. We had other reports. Other reports said that what? That the leader of the IRGC was there. They said it's the central headquarters command, and one of the leaders of the IRGC was there with him. And after all of these confirmations, we don't have yet a verification from Hezbollah. What we do have, though, is information coming from sources who are close to Hezbollah saying that, no, Nasrallah safe. Nothing happened. Nasrallah safe. He is in a safe place. We heard that from Press TV that belongs to Iran, and from a couple of other sources that are close to Hezbollah, saying that, no, he's fine. But so far, we haven't had a confirmation from Hezbollah. And the main confirmation needs to come from Hezbollah. Was he assassinated or was he not? And of course, we'll get to what that means and what could happen and what Iran said. Will we see something bigger and all of that in a second? So far as Hezbollah's concerned, they haven't released a verification. And as long as we don't hear it from Hezbollah, there are suspicions that he might have been killed. He might have been killed. They are threatening again and calling the people leave immediately. Does that remind you of something? Does that remind you of Gaza? And leave to the safe zones. Firstly, they're attacking in North Lebanon now. And we had a Lebanese cleric up north saying that people targeted a guy in my neighborhood who has a garage and repairs cars. And they're saying that it's a non-Hezbollah area, not belonging to the Shia community even, right? And no, they're having, he says, the guy has a garage. What are they doing, Israel? They're including everything in the ring. Under the umbrella, of course, of Hezbollah, like they did with Hamas in Gaza. And the funny thing is, the only thing that they're doing in Lebanon is bringing people closer to Hezbollah. That's what they're doing. IDF spokesperson Hagari said that in the coming hours, the IDF will attack strategic capabilities that Hezbollah has planted in the heart of Beirut's Dahia, a coastal missile array built with Iranian funding. In the last hour, we contacted the residents of 3 buildings in Dahia, which are located above Hezbollah's strategic assets, and they should move away from there immediately. We will attack in a short time. To let you know, 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, Israel said that Hezbollah hold their strategic weapons in, and now they repeated it again a couple of months ago in some of the garbage newspapers and tabloids and the propaganda media that belongs to Rupert Murdoch and co. Zionist slaves started to publish it, like they published the lies about the 7th of October. Covering up the fact that Israel massacred their people and ignoring evidence that came from Israel and from Israelis around Gaza, Israelis who survived the 7th of October, and even people who were pilots in the IDF Air Force saying that we were ordered to shoot at everyone going back to Gaza, regardless of who they were, and the residents saying that they killed us, the IDF was shooting at us. When Hamas was attacking, they killed most of our people. Anyway, it's important to reiterate these things, just in case some people forget. Some people have dementia when it comes to these things. He is saying now it's above Hezbollah's strategic assets in these buildings. So we moved from Beirut airport, football fields. Oh, by the way, so the Lebanese used to play football on top of Hezbollah rockets as well. Thinking ahead slightly, Israel might have considered that, some refugees might go to football fields and what have you later on to justify them bombing them, like they bomb the schools, the UN schools in Gaza, the children, the infants, the families who flee the danger zones and go to the safe zones, and then they bomb them. This is what they like to do. Bloodlust. These people thrive on blood. You're talking about next level. Some people probably can't comprehend that. But now they are in Beirut. And how kind of him, Hagari. He's so kind. He's telling people, evacuate. Oh, I want to destroy the whole building. Get the hell out of there. That's so kind of you. Of course, I have no authorization or confirmation they did that with you. When it comes to Iran, we had a report saying that the Iranian ambassador in Beirut said that the condemned attack in Beirut crossed Iran's red lines. It crossed Iran's red lines. And we also have talks from Ali Larijani, who is an advisor for the supreme leader of Iran, saying that they're crossing the red lines. And the Iranian ambassador to Beirut, he said that the strikes are also game-changing. What does Iran mean by game-changing? Do they mean that the period of what was labeled as strategic patience or containing things strategically ended? because some analysts who are observing this now are saying, well, this is the result of the lack of a response to the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. The Iranian president confirmed. The Americans told them, give us a week. The ceasefire is close. No, no, no. And then he said, clearly we see nothing. And the American lies, and the Americans lied, and Israel is escalating. Well, that's what happens in war. If you don't go for them, they come for you. So from Israel's perspective, if they haven't seen a response yet, they go all out. And in Israel, they're talking about an opportunity. We have an opportunity that we've been waiting for years, according to Herzi Halevi, and also the fact that Israel authorized this. Israel authorized this assassination last Monday. Last Monday, there was a cabinet meeting, and Netanyahu, Gallant, everyone was there. They asked Netanyahu if we receive solid information about the location of the leader of Hezbollah, we would like to target him and kill him. And apparently, Benjamin Netanyahu approved that during that cabinet meeting last Monday. So we're talking about just 6 days ago. They asked him, can we do it if we find his location? Yes, we can. Israel is going all out. This is what people need to understand here. Israel is going on an all-out war. And this is Ali Larijani, by the way, the advisor of Khamenei. They now prepared and made a move that is unprecedented. What is that move? Declaring the highest level of readiness and alertness across land, air, and sea. This has never been done before. Israel declared a state of emergency already, like they declared it following the 7th of October. And after that, as far as I remember, it was only 1973, following the October War with Egypt, the 6th of October war with Egypt, or what Israelis call the Yom Kippur War. The state of emergency, but a state of top alertness when it comes to land, air, and sea, that has never been done. And people in Israel are getting ready in bunkers now in central Israel, in Tel Aviv, to prepare for an attack from Hezbollah. So far, we had an attack from Hezbollah. We had a couple of attacks, but these attacks can be taken into the day-to-day responses. Why? Yesterday we were speaking about the fact that Hezbollah are now creating a new norm. Israel, ever since they added the return of the residents of the north as an objective of the war alongside the other objectives in Gaza, they said that we need to start attacking Hezbollah very heavily. Hezbollah told them, you won't return them in that way. You will only return them by having a ceasefire in Gaza, which will automatically mean we will stop our attacks. We're a supporting front and we're only escalating because you're escalating with us. Our purpose here is to stop the war. And if you increase your attacks against us, we will increase our attacks against you. And I can see some people commenting on a couple of things, which I'll get to in a sec. Any questions, I'll get to them after we finish with the topics that I want to speak about, and we'll open the space up for you. So Hezbollah are creating a new norm. That new norm is we are attacking Haifa regularly. We are attacking deep in the north. We are attacking areas closer to central Israel as part of the day-to-day attacks. So the most northern parts are already burnt, main cities, main towns. People need to remember something, by the way. Many of the towns in North Israel have already been destroyed completely, like 80-90% of the houses destroyed. civilian towns that were evacuated, that the IDF uses to hide in. They destroyed them completely. Now bigger towns and some cities, some have a status of a city, are burning completely and getting destroyed. Like Safad, it's being bombarded. And the Iron Dome isn't very effective. We're seeing more effectiveness from the Iron Dome in the areas of Haifa, close strategic areas, because of course in a city like Haifa, they're worried about the port, they're worried about the chemicals, they're worried about the strategic places, and of course in central Israel. And when it comes to central Israel, yesterday we had another hypersonic missile, Palestine 2, again, being launched at Tel Aviv at a strategic military location, according to the military spokesperson of Nasrallah in Yemen, reaching its target. We saw images of Arrow 3 trying to intercept it and failing, but I did not see the landing. Although there were reports that it did land, Israel said that 17 people were wounded. 17 people were wounded running away to the bunkers. This is how they were wounded. So by rushing, well, that's a massive trip and fall if you're running that quickly. Or if are you jumping down? What are you doing exactly? So from Israel's perspective, they're going on an all-out war. Who is that all-out war serving? That's the main question here. This man. Benjamin Netanyahu's polls rebound after aggressive Israeli operations. Since approving assassinations in Beirut and Tehran, the Premier's Likud party has taken the lead in national surveys. Surprise, surprise. Benjamin Netanyahu was facing massive criticism from the Israeli public, unprecedented protests in Israel to take him down, calling for Benjamin Netanyahu to resign. 800,000 people. You're talking about almost 8% of the Israeli population, as in the total overall population in and outside of Israel, protesting against him. Unprecedented pressure. The negotiating delegation already accepted a ceasefire 3 times before, and he was constantly putting hurdles. The negotiating delegation said many times, well, many members of them, that we'd have a positive vibe in the morning, go ahead, reach a deal, and in the evening he'll come up with something new. Something new, what? To hinder the prospect of a ceasefire. And you're talking about the majority of the Israelis. And by the way, they're not showing them, you know? Mainstream media doesn't like to show them. Some people in mainstream media, in particular in Western mainstream media, defend Netanyahu more than the censored Israeli media. More than them. And I'm not talking about like, again, 800,000 people. The people who were kidnapped in Gaza, the victims who were kidnapped, right, and released. Some of them participate in these protests. The committees of the Israelis who are imprisoned in Gaza, families of those people, the representatives in protests, what are they saying? This man is killing them. This man is killing Israelis. They call him crime minister. Blood is on his hands. He's doing it for his own purposes. He's sending people to die for his own war when his son is abroad. And every day that they're there, Israelis are getting killed. And the problem that Netanyahu started to face is that all of the eyes were on him. What does Netanyahu do? And Netanyahu, he has his tricks. Benjamin Netanyahu has tricks. He knows how to get himself out of trouble. He always knows how to divert attention. What did he do? Go on an all-out war with Lebanon, escalate with Lebanon. Was it necessary to escalate with Lebanon? If you're really concerned about the return of the people to the north, you're really concerned. Do you think, well, that by expanding the war, you'll stop Hezbollah? You were saying that you wanted to eliminate Hamas to get the people back. To get the people back, and if you were genuine about your care for the Israeli people, you would have entered an immediate ceasefire and prisoner exchange talk, because Hamas even told you, I'm willing to talk to you now, and I conducted this operation because I already have 4 Israelis since 2014 that you forgot and don't care about. And any attempt to have a peaceful prisoner swap with you failed. So we had to do this. We have people under administrative detention. There's problems for the Palestinian people. Gaza is an open air prison. He listened to none of that. And he didn't care about the Israelis who were already in Gaza. But like he sold the lie that I need to eliminate Hamas in Gaza, I need to go to Gaza to bring the Israelis back, when most of the Israelis who were released alive were released through a peaceful negotiating process and a ceasefire. He is continuing. Now he's using the same excuse in Lebanon. And again, it shows how really ill-informed these people are who give him support again in Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu's polls, now he has 25 mandates, next in opposition 19 mandates. So technically he can almost have a coalition if we go to an election. So it's serving him. Firstly, no more protests now. Well, there are protests, not like there's no protests. And some people, especially the families in Israel of those who are kidnapped in Gaza, they see this as a threat, because why? I mean, you've sealed the fate. You've sealed the fate of the Israelis who could have been, released in a peaceful talk. Let alone the fact that they, of course, killed them. Benjamin Netanyahu directly killed, not just by the negligence, the killing. They killed over 50 Israelis in the first month in Gaza, as confirmed by the Palestinian side, the Hamas and the other movements. And like the Israelis who were released confirmed, Yocheved Lifshitz, and then Noah Argamani even said, I had bruises all over my body because of the IDF attack. Lifshitz says they were attacked 3 times when they were being kidnapped to Gaza. Alongside others, of course, they applied a lot of pressure on some of the others to try to spin things through the media. But again, that's short-lived. And now he's trying to convince the Israeli public that this is the thing. Now, Lebanon is the thing. You need to follow me. And this is what's going to return the people. If his war, and oh, by the way, and there are calls to what? There are calls to eliminate Hezbollah. There are calls now to eliminate Hezbollah. Well, at least not officially, If it is officially, that'll be a death sentence, really. I mean, he said you're going to demolish the Hamas. I mean, Livni said that in 2008, 2009. You said that afterwards. You're not going to eliminate neither Hamas nor Hezbollah unless you eliminate the causes that they establish their resistance upon. In the case of Hamas, get rid of the causes that they establish their resistance on, the constant injustice against the Palestinian people, occupation, oppression, inequality, apartheid. In the case of Lebanon, reach a settlement with the Palestinian people, implement equality, get out of Shib'a farms, you still have a couple of areas, and then you will reach a peaceful solution. But no, he is hell-bent on more war and more blood. Taking down, first and foremost, Israelis with him by endangering them. And secondly, taking the whole region. Now, with what they're doing now, and with this level of escalation, by the way, I'm not sure if there's a lot of room for the opposing side to practice this strategic patience. I'm not sure how, I don't know what's the response going to be to this now. If it's true that the Secretary General of Hezbollah was there and leading figures, let alone the head of the IRGC, Hussein Salami, sitting there in Al-Dahiya, you're talking about a big escalation. And whether they like it or not, they're being pulled by the neck to it. Iran. That's in Iran's case, by the way. We also had a statement coming from Ansarullah. Ansarullah in Yemen, also known as the Houthis. What did they say? They said the targeting of the southern suburb of Beirut, that is full of civilians, is an unprecedented barbarism, but not new, and we're not surprised on this Zionist clan. The persistence of the Zionist entity to continue conducting crimes, bloody crimes, and escalation following an escalation is happening amidst a massive failure and conspiracy on the resistance movements. The weapons being used in the latest attacks confirm again that the United States is a participant, a full participant in the bloodshedding of the innocent civilians. The aggression on Palestine and Lebanon is 100% American. We continue our solidarity with the Islamic resistance in Lebanon, and we reaffirm our confidence in Hezbollah and its leadership, political and military, and its solid support. We call on the Arab and Muslim and free people of the world for more solidarity to stop the war and aggression on Lebanon and Palestine. And the last thing that they said is the recent dangerous development on Lebanon opens the door for an all-out war that won't have any results but a massive destruction on this temporary entity and the war criminals. We're looking towards very intense days ahead.